Right now at noon, a teen has been sentenced in a deadly crash, killing a Hamilton Southeastern grad. The terms of his plea agreement and how many years he'll spend behind bars.
Early morning storms died on arrival here. We do have a stormy pattern ahead. We'll have the latest timeline in the forecast.
And a big announcement from the governor today, his efforts to expand childcare for low-income families across the state. Thanks for joining us here at 13 News at Noon. I'm Felicia Lawrence, and this afternoon we're learning the sentence for a Hamilton County teen who caused a crash that killed an HSC grad. Trey Williams will spend 3 years in prison, 1 year community corrections work release, and 2 years probation. Williams pled guilty to reckless homicide in February for the crash that killed Mason Alexander. A judge accepted his plea, saying he believes Williams is sorry, but said, quote, "Your reckless actions took a life." Mason Alexander was 18 at the time of the crash on Florida Road back in March of 2025. Police say Williams was driving when his car swerved off the road, hit a tree, and caught fire. Upon his release, Williams will have his license suspended for 5 years. Also from the courtroom, the Clinton County Sheriff and his wife making their first appearances for felony fraud charges. Richard and Ashley Kelly both entered not guilty pleas. The judge also prohibited the couple from accessing any guns. They also cannot communicate with several sheriff's employees who are witnesses in the case. The couple is accused of defrauding Indiana State Police of at least $50,000 in disability claims. Both are out on bond and are set to be back in court in July. And helping more kids get into daycare. 14,000 Hoosier children will soon get a voucher to go to daycare as the state resumes enrolling Child Care and Development Fund vouchers. Governor Mike Braun just made the announcement of the $200 million investment. The CCDF voucher program was frozen for 15 months, and now 57,000 kids will have a voucher. Those that qualify are siblings of those who already have a voucher, infants, toddlers, and 3 to 5 year olds. FSSA says today's move will provide relief to so many families.
At the end of the day, this is about Hoosier children, this is about Hoosier families, this is about Hoosier working families. It's also about the child care providers that provide the care that this state relies on every day.
So there's still a few weeks to go until this all goes into effect. The governor's office and FSSA expect this to happen around late May. FSSA. I always have to check my acronyms there. All right, turning now, we actually have some storm potential this afternoon and at several times over the next several days. Meteorologist Sean Ash is joining us. He's been prepping us. What's the timeline for this? Well,
for today, there's a high degree of uncertainty. We know we're warm. We know we're going to be unstable, but do we have enough to trigger storms? That's the question mark today. Much better shot of this, I'll say, Wednesday and Thursday. Let me show you the radar right now with temperatures. We're near 80 degrees and we're going to make it well into the 80s. Now, we had a little complex of thunderstorms that was moving in earlier this morning, and those faded out. And this is what's left in the wake here. Plenty of sunshine. I mentioned a warm day, keeping in mind our average highs in the mid 60s. We're going to be another good 20 degrees above that. Dew points in the 60s. So we've got the moisture. We have the heating, we've got the sun, we have growing instability in the atmosphere. But as I mentioned, we don't have much of a trigger to lift the air up. Farther to the north, that is a different story. This boundary is going to be the focal point for scattered to numerous thunderstorms. Now, there is an outflow boundary across sections of Illinois. Do we get some development along that later today and those move in? That is one scenario. Another is we don't get much development and it's more focused along that front. We just don't know right now, so it is a waiting game. However, any storms that develop later today and that will be on radar likely will be severe, and that's why we do have that risk. This may be a little bit overdone on the modeling. Bottom line, you should be weather aware and know that you've got several hours of quiet time, and we'll just wait and see how much storm action we get later on. Much better shot of storms tomorrow afternoon into Thursday, as well as the weekend. All will be covered in your latest 7-day forecast.
Thanks, Sean. And new at noon, Metro Police just announced the arrest of 7 people after a weekend crackdown on reckless driving, street racing, and spinning. The department teamed up with Cumberland Police and ISP, impounding several cars and issuing more than a dozen citations. They also seized an AR-style rifle from a 13-year-old, as well as a handgun with a machine gun conversion device from a 20-year-old. IMPD says those 2 individuals were seen hanging out of a car window, waving these guns. Right now, 20-year-old Darius Riggs is fighting for his life at Eskenazi Hospital. Metro Police say Riggs was stabbed while working at the U.S. Postal Service facility on Indy's east side. Our Matthew Foltz spoke to Riggs' family, and this is an interview that you'll only see on 13 as they continue to search for answers.
Good support.
Oh, man.
Good support.
You'll be all right.
Gathered outside Eskenazi Hospital, the Riggs family is trying to support one another.
Definitely dependent on the Lord.
And leaning on their faith, as 20-year-old Darius Riggs lies on life support after being stabbed Saturday night at the United States Postal Service facility on the city's east side.
About maybe 11:30, I got a call from someone at the building saying that my son had been stabbed.
His mother, Sherry, says she and her family rushed to the hospital after getting that call.
He sustained most of the injury to his left neck area, and there was a lot of bleeding because of that.
Sherry tells me Darius had been working at the facility for over a year. A star football player in high school, his family says he was just trying to make a living.
I just keep picturing him coming in the room. Hey, Pop. It's hard to sleep, man.
Now the family questions why someone would stab their son.
How did this happen? How was a man there with a knife? How is he targeting people? How was my cousin laying on the ground bleeding to death? I just need to know. We have questions, and nobody's reaching out.
I reached out to IMPD about the stabbing, and they tell me it's an isolated incident and referred me to USPS. The Postal Service sent a statement saying that their hearts are with the Riggs family and that they hope Darius makes a full recovery. As for updates in the investigation, I'm told to reach out to the Postal Inspection Service. The family says they haven't heard from Metro Police or the Postal Service.
Essentially was told that we wouldn't get to hear from them until Monday. Well, we haven't heard from them until Monday, and we have not heard anything, and it is Monday.
For now, they're just hoping justice is served and a miracle is performed.
Still praying and believing that he's going to make a full recovery. He's a fighter. He always have been. And we're just going to keep praying until, no matter what the outcome, God is in control.
Reporting in Indianapolis, I'm Matthew Foltz, 13 News.
All right, a family in need of a miracle there. Matthew has not heard back from the Postal Inspection Service just yet, and we are still working to learn if the suspect involved was arrested and what charges could follow. And we're learning more about a partnership between Indiana and Israel. Iron Nation Indiana is a public-private partnership worth more than $60 million. Governor Braun says the partnership is designed to attract tech companies from Israel to set up headquarters here and invest in the state. Braun says this will create new jobs, and there's already upwards of $30 million in commitments from Israeli companies who plan to come here. However, the governor did weigh in on scrutiny and criticism of Israel's actions in Gaza and Lebanon.
I think this is more to do with economic development and the kind of private sector of investment. On the government end of it, you're going to have camps on both sides there, and obviously that has been a discussion across the country.
So we asked the governor about any specific deals in the works. He says that's still being flushed out with individual companies.